rhythms is your guys' thing?
The first tap of a conductor's wand. The first rivet in a mile-high tower. The master link at the genesis of a never-ending chain. The moment a single empty canvas meets a singular master stroke. There is no one thing. Because now, there are many. Because soon, there will be more. Because one is ever the beginning. Like the first link in an infinite chain, or the first rivet in the tallest skyscraper. The master stroke is found in the masterpiece. What will you begin?
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
Welcome, everybody. This is the World Blockchain Roundtable. This is episode number 234th episode. It is a weekly podcast, a weekly show. So that's 234 weeks. You do the math on how many years that is. And believe it or not, this is the oldest, longest running DAO podcast in the world. It is ran as a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization on a blockchain on Den.Social, where everyone, the audience, participates by selecting and voting on themes for each week's show, and then voting on questions. And voting on those questions, those turns into lot or their ownership tokens, which you can then vote on the next week's show and questions and what have you. So, having said all that, I want to welcome our guests. Next to me from the Legacy right is Zach. Appreciate you, Zach, for being here. Underneath Zach is Andrew Joseph, also with the Legacy right. And to his right, just below me, is Greg from Rivet. And I am, aka William. And I am the, I guess, the elected emperor of the Den.DAO. And guess
we got
what?
another.
We have another guest panelist coming in.
It's Sean.
Hot off the presses.
There he is, Sean. Satoshi Sean.
Welcome, Sean.
Just in time. Hey. We're just introducing everybody. Welcome. So, Joe, unfortunately,
I just like to say that that's the greatest entrance ever. It's just John just popping up out of nowhere. It's perfect.
I do that every week. Every week I'll say that.
Yeah. He just pops in.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, good morning, everybody. And like I said, this is a DAO show, a DAO podcast every Thursday morning. And let's go over a couple of quick items of business before we jump into this week's topic, which is privacy dead? Dun dun dun. All right. So last week's show was, again, based on a Dow vote, a Dow as a White House cabinet position. If you haven't watched that, I really encourage you to go back and watch last week's show after this one's over. And it's really brings up an interesting conversation about what if there was a cabinet position created within the White House that was a Dow-run cabinet position, or what if cabinet positions, were actually controlled and operated as a Dow? So last week's show generated 80 lot, and each topic contributor last week received 33 lot. And last week's theme was nominated by I Am for I Am, and I received 33 lot, raking in the tokens there. And these tokens provide perpetual passive income on Den.Social, free edits, and governance votes. So, but this week's topic, again, is privacy dead? But we have one more item to discuss here, and that is next month's theme suggestions. So if you got a great idea about blockchain and themes, or you want something that you want the panelists to talk about, I don't know, maybe Christmas related, year-end related, like what was the best blockchain of the year, what was the bad blockchain of the year, or what's going to happen in 2026, is AI going to, or quantum computing going to break the Bitcoin code, and you want to discuss that and have a panel of experts weigh in on your question or your theme, this is the place to do it. So
or if you just want to learn something that you think one of us or any of us can teach you, we're happy to all talk about a topic that we know about.
Great point. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, absolutely. And I can testify that if we do not have the answer, we'll make one up. All right.
Yeah.
So, wrong answers only, right?
AI there.
So again, next for December theme suggestions, we need you to get those in, and please make sure that they're 75 characters or less. The reason for that, because it fits well in the YouTube,
description.
Description. Thank you. And to do that, to make those suggestions, go to Den.Social and post them in the World Blockchain Roundtable layer, WBRT, and you just hit this reply button right here. And so far, there are no themes for the month of December yet. So hurry up and get those in. I think you got till, Tuesday, November 18th, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. UTC. All right. So there it is. That is the items that I want to bring up for today's show, or I should say, let me close this out so we can, bear with me. I couldn't get the other share screen to work. It is technical difficulties. Dead air. Gotta love it. All right. Is there anything that bright, intelligent young men would like to talk about before we jump into Is Privacy Dead? And later, by the way, everybody, we'll be talking about current events after the 1 hour mark. So
maybe we should have a working definition of privacy before we jump in. Right? Because what is privacy is a really basic question that people don't have the courage to ask, because it sounds like one you should know the answer to, like what is freedom,
Yeah. I would define it as curtains on a window, a door in a bathroom, a door to a bedroom.
No. Fair enough.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Greg, jump in on that.
Well, I would just say that there's a lot of ways you can define it. One of my favorites is Timothy C. May's original definition from the Cypherpunk Manifesto, or the Crypto Anarchist Manifesto, rather. Privacy is the right to selectively reveal oneself to the world, right? So it's not so much a door or a lock or a particular form of obfuscation, though those may give you privacy in some cases.
Right.
Privacy is the thing that's protected by those things in a particular context.
Right. Oh, that's good. And that you select what you want others to see.
Right. Whatever gives you that right is what is what the system and the infrastructure must protect if we were to have privacy, to my mind. Anyway.
And digitally, invasion of your privacy is what?
There's a lot of ways to invade privacy.
Sure.
Google Ad services.
Yeah. I was thinking doxing somebody. That's a good example.
Like you can invade my privacy right now by taking a close-up screenshot of my background, trying to decipher this text and getting a sense of where maybe I am in the country based on what time period that was sold and where it was shipped from and frequently shipped to. You could get into it with publicly available information and probably figure out what town I grew up in. There's a guy who's on like YouTube or TikTok, right? Like people can challenge him to be like, where am I? Given this one video clip.
Yeah, you can step away if you find him.
The middle of a wheat field. You grew up in the middle.
You will not divide us.
But for me, that's not an invasion of privacy because I selectively revealed myself to the world long ago with respect to this, right? Everyone knows where I was born.
Listen, I'm going to dox myself too. I was born in a cornfield. Because it's all corn and soybean around here.
Well, if we're all doxing ourselves, I was born under the old oak tree. If you find out where that song comes from, you'll enjoy it.
No, you weren't. You were born in a cemetery.
I can dox myself and say,
crappy city.
I was literally born on a gurney in the hallway in a hospital because I guess I wanted to pop out into the world faster than they could get my mom into the birthing room.
That is
funny fact.
That is very weird because I was a week
born on the day that the doctor gave my mom the day, my due date. Mm-hmm. And I've always joked that was the last time I was on time for anything. When I was born.
To be fair.
Right.
To be fair,
so
John,
so we all selected how much to say there, right?
Yeah.
To go off of that
privacy on everybody's part.
Yeah. Go ahead. To go off of that, Sean. While you were given the date and you were on time, my mom was given the date and I was not on time.
My kids were all late, and they were twins, and they were huge, so it was weird.
My actual birth time was, I shit you not, 4:20 in the afternoon.
Oh wow, wow, that's funny.
Dang.
I was at some time in the afternoon too, but I don't know what time.
I was at 4:35. I was a little bit beyond 4:20.
Grant, that was when it was marked, right? So that's not exactly when it happened. You were there with enough time for the doctor to be filling out the form when they checked their watch at that moment. But
I was there for enough time for the doctor to be finishing his joint.
Oh my gosh. Well, so now that we've kind of defined privacy, I'm going to hit the refresh button. So if you had a chance to get your questions in, that was your moment, your opportunity. So episode 234 is Privacy Dead shall commence. And the first question we have, oh my gosh, look at that.
Brilliant.
Kind of ends the cartoon, doesn't it? No more chase.
It's really what would have happened like every episode if they were being honest. There'd always be a new Jerry.
Yeah. Here you go. If nation states weaponized CBDCs with programmable spending controls, can decentralized privacy tech outrun the ban hammer? In other words, are we just building cat and mouse tools until the mouse loses? meaning our privacy loses and the government or the state wins. So the government or the state is the cat. And so what do you think?
I'm going to open a can of worms on this. So,
all right, you go, Sean. Go for it.
Okay, so I think CBDCs are set up to be like one of the final nails in the privacy coffin for them to take total control. They can turn off your money. The thing is, I think this is the T-tax. I think this is what makes Americans become Americans again. States and governments have done terrible things, but when they took the truckers' money, that's when the world said, "What the hell?" and it stopped. You know what I mean? I think they're gonna do it, and when they do it, it will be their end. When they try to put the final nail in the coffin of privacy and take total control, is when everyone stands up and says, "No, that's not going to happen."
Interesting.
And nobody says that. Everyone says, "Oh, they're going to take total control. They're going to do it." But I think that's the point where people have nothing to lose. They, everyone sees the writing on the wall. It's because it's right there in front of them. But they literally take their face and bash their face into the wall, and like, here's the writing. They kind of force them to see it.
I'll go ahead and go next and weigh in on this question. And I'm going to give you just a little bit of pushback, Sean. I agree with just about everything you said, except that I believe that CBDCs are already here. They're just in a different form. Yes, we use our debit card, and yes, we use our credit cards and what have you. But those, for various purchases, very few of us use cash anymore. As a matter of fact, I think to maintain some privacy, we need to start using cash, if not crypto. But the CBDCs are already here. They're just not at this point stopping you saying, I'm sorry. I am from, you've already maximized your purchase of beef for the month of, November. And you can no longer purchase, beef at the checkout. That's where that knob or hasn't been turned on yet, or switch hasn't been flipped on yet.
I agree with you 100%. I was going to say that it's technically already here because of that.
Yes.
But when it comes to privacy, it's something like the Second Amendment to me. You can't give them an inch.
Right.
You remember when this all started?
Well,
I'll tell you when it started. When they stopped letting people buy Sudafed because of meth.
Good point.
It makes total sense. We don't
John, you're absolutely right.
People to make the meth, but
Yeah.
you got to say, hey, man, you can't start limiting what people can buy. Because
the second you put the state in the channels of commerce and give them specific control over what you can buy and what you can't, then you have an incentive to build a mass surveillance engine that surveils your purchases and checks
you can't
against
buy
the
that
law.
much beef. Like William said, you can't buy that much beef. We think you're a reseller. We think you're a prepper. It's just, you can't do it.
Oh yeah, ever try to buy a pallet of beverages on sale from the grocery store?
Oh. Yeah,
I've done it actually. It's pretty funny. They were getting rid of Holiday Spice Pepsi after nobody wanted it, and they had like this whole pallet they were selling for 25 cents a whack right at payday. As I was walking out the produce department back in the day, just dated myself. Anyone wants to know exactly where I was, they can find out about Holiday Spice Pepsi online. But point being, like, people look at you really funny as you truckload grocery cart after grocery cart out to your car, and it starts to like load down the suspension. Like it is purchase of large quantities of things like furniture levels of soda boxes, for example. Like,
what did you do with all of it?
Well, we started off using it as a mixer, but everybody got sick of it. So after a while, we started using them for entertainment. Some competitions involved whoever lost the drinking game had to take a shower in the still, like, literally. It was college. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. That's good.
Yeah,
But
we did fill the bathtub with it though at one point just to see.
Oh my gosh. But seriously, I mean, can we fight the government when it slows down our ability to transact privately? Can we slow the government when it says no, you can't use whatever Signal or whatever privacy communication device or app, or you can no longer say this online or that online. You become censored. You become jailed, like in the UK. So are we going?
Or you'll get kicked out of your bank account if you order one of these and its flavor isn't tobacco.
Yeah, and like Sean said, I happen to like pseudoephedrine or whatever it is, and you have to go behind the counter and present your ID. This is a great observation, Sean. But seriously, is it a cat and mouse game? And are we doomed to fail at that game because the government has so many guns and tools and cages and enforcers and idiots in government
if you really step back, I mean, if you look at the world's military, the numbers are stupid. Like India's got like what 1.7 million in their military,
something like that. They've got about 1.5 million.
That's literally like 1% of their population. 2%. So imagine that. It's just bodies. There's when people say the people have the power, it's such an understatement.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I mean, you could literally, if everybody just peed on the army, they would die. You don't need
all at once. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's such it's so lopsided.
There'll be a lot of liquid, actually.
Yeah,
it's so. I don't want to go that deep into it, but yeah, I think that that would be it. That would be the thing to radicalize people.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like going and buying 2 boxes of Sudafed, and they're like, "Oh no, you can only buy 1 box." I'm like,
"Yeah,"
and come back tomorrow.
And they're like, well,
and even then,
because of the meth.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm not making meth. What? And
I have allergies.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's the policy even now because of the blah blah blah, and I was pissed. Like and to think about, because that was like 30 years ago, or
right,
35 years ago. The level of just how indignant and angry I was, to where now they lock up charger cords and beef jerky, and it's like, oh, 5 times. I mean,
don't forget about Tide Pods.
All right, Andrew, what's your answer on this? Are we just in a cat and mouse fight to maintain our privacy?
They move in waves. I mean, you can see there's what they're trying to do in Europe right now, right? There was a post on X either today or yesterday, was saying that they're going to start banning cash amounts greater than $10,000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's a pressure test to see what. I just saw it today,
I was just correcting. Yeah. But go on.
But they do pressure tests to see what they can, who's going to throw a fit and make an issue out of things, and see how far they can push the buttons until they just go ahead and ran through it.
What do you think, Andrew? I mean, Zach.
Sorry.
I mean, the world's set up to be a cat and mouse, so that's inevitable.
You meaning between the populace and the government?
Between populace, government, between companies and other companies, between individuals and other individuals. So we're always trying to strive to benefit each other while simultaneously trying to outwit each other. So when I look at this, CBDCs, they're inevitable. They're already relatively here. They've been here probably for the last at least 30 years, if not 20. In other capacity. And the only other, it depends on the cornering of whichever market that you're in. So in like a money market, it's inevitable, and I don't think you can truly decentralize and a certain privacy tech, because I think privacy is relatively dead unless you literally just go and start using cash or other means and staying local and administering your transactions in that way, which is very hard to do in our day and age. You have to outsource further than the locale in any shape or form. But that's the only way that you could fight on a monetary aspect. But it depends on the market, and it depends on what we're actually trying to decipher through certain texts, certain products, certain fields within our society.
Yeah, it's kind of like the risk reward, right?
Yeah.
All right, Greg, finish us out here.
right.
Are we outrunning? Are we going to outrun the banhammer?
Oh yeah, we're absolutely. So the way that this works is that the CBDC is an intervention that forces people to choose between their currency that they currently use as their base unit of thinking, the dollar, right? For example, if it happened in the United States, would be the CBDC, right? They'd call it the dollar. They wouldn't change the name. But it would run on this back end that would basically force people to choose between being free and using dollars. So what it would precipitate would be, people having under the shelf prices in Zcash, where people would just exchange the private currency, right? Directly without ever referencing back to dollars. It would force people to choose between their liberty and that particular currency, right? People with a lot of wealth wrapped up in it could still get it out. No doubt. Services will emerge, right?
Right.
Because anytime you have a prohibition against a market activity, what happens? A black market emerges, right? There will be a black market in getting yourself out of fiat and into assets that aren't controlled, and that will happen. And the people that will facilitate that are probably the people who are already there. And there are plenty of privacy chains and decentralized capabilities that are coming online to this day, right? That are going to make it possible for people to adopt those. And if the only catch is you have to stop using this Govy money, that they're probably going to hyperinflate anyway, right? Like, it's just going to accelerate the adoption of things. It's going to the more they try to bring the hammer down, the more people are going to start open source projects.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a risk reward thing. It's almost like a free market solution, and there is a market for privacy in a type.
Right. It's the Grand Moff Tarkin theory of monetary freedom, right? The more you tighten your grip, empire, the more star system slip through your fingers, so to speak.
Real quick, I know this isn't a question, but what would all of you, very kind of a lightning round answer, please? What would you say to the person that says, "Well, I don't care about privacy. I have nothing to hide"? Who wants to take that first? How would you answer that?
Well, unlock your phone and hand it to me. Then is what I would say.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
If it was a hot chick, I'd tell her to take her clothes off.
Yeah, I'll give it back to you sometime eventually. Right?
Yeah, go ahead. Take. Do you change? Do you change in front of an open window?
Right.
No, there's certain.
But that's different, Sean. That's different, Sean. I'm talking about online.
Don't mind me. I'm just texting myself screenshots of your browser history.
Yeah.
I mean, I got not particularly online, but I mean, I guess you can stomach having using a public toothbrush.
Dude, how about this? Would you let somebody use your chatbot instance, just open-ended? Like the one that has your memory associated with it, like all the saved stuff?
Yeah, good question.
No, like that's getting inside somebody's head and inside their private chatbot instance is pretty private, isn't it? When you think about it.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next question. I think we only have 3 today. Look at that. Look at all those cameras on that street.
Did you remember when that came out? I remember when that started like 40 years ago.
What, cameras on the street?
Yeah, all the cameras. It was started in Britain. And the whole thing was, I don't have anything to fear. It makes me feel safe. And now it's like the most unsafe place in the world. Yeah. But and like a lot of them aren't even hooked up because there's so
Yeah,
many.
now they use it to defend the street violence offenders.
Yeah, so but I remember when it happened, and we were just like, man, America's so different. We would never stand for that shit. And it's something I want to hit back on the other thing.
Yeah,
That's on the other question. It kind of goes with this. I think that 90% of people are somewhere between sheep and good people. They don't want to break. They don't want to be lawbreakers. So they go along with it. They'll go along with. But I think that with the CBDCs, that'll be the. I'm trying to say. I don't think people like to use black market or other systems that will be gray or illegal.
right.
I think they have to be
right. But if the choice is between baby formula or coupons for future baby formula that the government promises you'll be able to buy,
no, then I think you pick up a gun. That's my point. I think people make things.
Well, with the money, you can just ignore it, though.
Hold on, I don't understand your point, Sean. What do you mean? Then
I think people are pushed to a certain point, to that point, and then they're like, now we will fight you. Now we'll go to secondary. I think most people, now a lot of people will go to the secondary systems and take, like you said, a risk for the reward. But I think the vast majority of people are pushed to a certain point, they break, and then they change the system. Yeah. They don't create a parallel system.
After that fight starts, though, what's everybody using behind enemy lines, right? Behind state-controlled areas.
Yeah, but I think there's a breaking point where it's like, nope, that's it. Now we're enemies.
Yeah.
Right. But once we're enemies, we're probably all using Zcash, like.
Yeah. But
all right, next question.
Said, it's a whole new thing. There's now, it's not a black market. You're part of the rebellion. Yeah. It's legal with where you're at.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what is a rebellion but black market sovereignty?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Well said. All right, question. Is privacy dead when you consider we live in a surveillance state? Who's first? Zach, you're first on this one. We got cameras everywhere, Zach.
Not in Zach's house.
Privacy's dead.
Privacy's always been dead ever since, as long as technology continues to advance. I mean, everybody has. I'm off camera, but because I'm sitting there in a series of texts. But everybody has this in their pocket now. Mm-hmm. So as long as you have something like that in your pocket, this can be manipulated. This can be used for nefarious purposes. You can turn this off, and yet somebody can utilize this for a tool and turn it on even when it's off. So is privacy dead? I would argue that I wouldn't argue. I would agree. Privacy is dead in this world. The only way that you can get around it is if you literally just went off grid and stopped using technology. And I don't think either of us want to stop using technology.
Can I push a little bit on you and see your response? Suppose you are talking about actually being more private as opposed to having absolute anonymity as a base state that you can start from, right? Like I feel like if you take the requirement for anonymity as the point where everyone has absolute privacy and then can begin again to decide what to reveal, like, yeah, we don't have that. That's dead. But what about the thing where tomorrow you start using Signal instead of your old AIM account still or whatever?
I mean, or like Signal's. You
take yourself off of Facebook and switch to something else or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be alternatives until that alternative ends up no longer being truly of a private anonymous means. So like Signal is not, it doesn't have any I can't speak today, but Signal doesn't have any privacy as it was once presented as. But there are also, same with Telegram. So if you're talking about communications, something like that with the tech, you're going to see as they partition one aspect, something else is going to come about. Say like there's an app called Sessions, which is completely encrypted. But what happens when they end up grabbing a hold of that? What if that ends up capitulating?
Well, that one's based on a decentralized network and Tor push protocol, like a new kind of Tor messaging. So like it's really hard. Like that one might not be breakable.
Telegram's a good example though, because it was really sold as totally encrypted, and it was a step in that direction, and it worked until it got noticed, until it got big, and then everyone was like, "Oh, you can't have that."
Yeah, then government stepped in and said, "We demand a backdoor."
Yeah, like you can have that as long as you're,
right. But like there are, I don't give a shit about privacy woohoo options, like putting all your private communications into TikTok messaging or something, right?
Right.
Like, where you just don't give a crap. So you just put your stuff out there, right? Like there's a big difference between like moving all your private messages to your public Twitter feed and selectively using things that have more privacy capabilities than less privacy capabilities, right? Like to say that it's dead is to suggest that there's no point in doing any of that.
Another point to mention here is surveillance isn't just with cameras, of course. It's like Zach was talking about, it's on our phone. It's, what we buy, what we purchase. It's
satellites.
Consuming. What's that?
Satellites, exactly.
I mean,
there could be someone looking through your window from space right now.
Yeah, our surveillance is
someone's looking through your house.
Yeah, the Roomba, the Alexa, the Google, whatever. You got all kinds of methods of surveillance, and then that data becomes, it's a mineable data. We talk about Bitcoin mining. Well, you can mine people, by their surveillance and then sell it on the market. So there's all kinds of
customize a chat bot to their entire corpus of anything they've ever said and ask it questions about you.
So I mean, you can pretty much, the only way to escape it is to move on to an Amish farm, no electronics.
You're still on the planet, and the
way to escape it is a lot easier than people think.
Go to Mars. Go to Europa.
No.
Yeah, I'm bullish on Europa before Mars. I'm with you, Zach.
Me too. I like Europa.
Yeah. Come on, Andrew. I haven't heard anything. I mean, are you just surveilling this conversation and taking?
Well, I was
Andrew's a Fed.
I was waiting
Andrew's
for my
Fed.
For it, man.
You're a Fed.
Really,
stop being quiet, Fed.
Privacy is defined by the person's sphere. So, like, you can see in some countries they could give a shit less what you do, like I've said before, and like Mexico, and in other countries like the United States or historically the USSR, they go through everything with the stethoscope, and they got a flashlight up your ass, and why not answer my question, and you're basically up a creek without a paddle to be just left alone. So it's really depend on the culture and an environment that you're in.
Right.
I would like to say now
Go for it.
Andrew has just declared privacy dead.
Who has?
Andrew. He just declared privacy dead because he literally just said privacy is given to you by a government. You can have privacy in Mexico because their government lets you have it. But in the U.S., they have a
No, he didn't say that.
He did.
So what you can claw back, what you can claw back from them is different depending on how much they give a damn.
He did. Yeah, but it's basically if it's based on how much they give a damn, which is what I was going to say, then it's given to you by them. They can give it, they can take it away, just
That's
like
not
your spice, brother.
I don't think Andrew believes that, but go ahead.
My point.
Fight back, Andrew. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I want to say this: privacy is dead because just like Telegram, you only have it as long as you are not important. Every movie, everything, if Joe was here, he'd tell you, if they want to follow you, if they want to know everything, they can, because of what's at their disposal. Yeah. And so basically, as long as you're under the radar and they don't care about you, then you can have certain amounts of privacy. Yeah. But no matter what you do, Greg, honestly, no matter what you do, if the entire force of a state wants to look into your
right. No, I know that. I just don't consider that to be an aspect of privacy as I talk about it, dude. Like,
yeah, the talk about privacy. Is it dead? Is it dead? I think it is dead.
It's not
because
you can still meaningfully get it.
How do you say on one hand that there's nothing you can do? Nothing.
There's nothing you can do to stop an adversary with infinite resources given enough time from breaking your security. This is
Therefore,
true.
It's dead.
Right?
Therefore,
but that's also true of every government system, and they still encrypt their stuff.
Yes, so it's dead.
Like, no. The point that I'm making is this. Privacy is not something that you have or don't have. It is not an on-off switch. It is a war of attrition against all attackers. And if you want to have more privacy, then you can claim it by making yourself a more expensive target. And that is the only way on Earth Greg, anyone has ever had privacy is to make themselves a more expensive target.
I'll end it. Fine. Can you limit? Do you have the power to limit how the world sees you? Like you gave that example. No, you don't anymore. Yes, privacy is dead.
Well, I can't really answer that question honestly, can I?
Is privacy dead?
If I say
is privacy dead according to your definition that you gave?
Privacy is not dead, according to my definition.
Can you can limit it? You just said that if infinite resource government,
you can make yourself a far less likely target by making yourself a more expensive target by making yourself more.
Yeah, but you still die. It's still they still break.
You're conflating privacy and security, Sean.
No, it's both. I am saying both, but they can know everything about you, everything that you do. That's privacy.
They can know they can know most things, but they can't know all the things. And they can have a situation on their hands where 90% of the people that they want to hit with their mass system, which is a requirement, like they got to scale a thing up so it's mass surveillance. If they want to target me specifically, then we're going back to the 50s, right? Like that's specific warrants, specific shit. They can get my stuff.
They can know more
than
you know.
But if you're talking about mass surveillance, if we're talking about a mass surveillance engine that has pre-crime baked into it, then all you have to do is be more expensive than the 80/20, and the software engineers will not get the edge cases by the time you've aged out of life. Right? Like,
you can't use the words infinite resources and more expensive. If they have
you can. In fact, in computer science experiments related to security, you do. You talk about a persistent advanced adversary. You rate the adversary according to what its capabilities are. Or in a hypothetical, infinitely capable adversary, you lose every time.
Another example is just the Bitcoin mining, 51% attack. Back, time out. I want to really go back to Andrew. Andrew's got it. He needs to either, change or extend his remarks. Andrew, is privacy dead when you gave the example of the U.S. and Mexico?
Well, let me go ahead and kind of further define my point. Is privacy is a function of bias. And when I say Mexico, what I'm talking about is, you can see the party atmosphere. They have an environment there where they really could give two shits about the people around them because they're kind of immature, right? The drugs, the drinking, the partying, and then, like I said, you go to the USSR. As an example, you go to the United States, you go to Israel. There's an intense degree of fear, and that plays hand in hand. That's why you see these people going through, and there's always going through and invading people's privacy because they could care less. They want to make sure that there's no risk whatsoever. That's why the USSR failed. It's because they spent so much money and such a high degree of paranoia that they capitulated. So that's it. It really just depends on the person. There's another investigator. I mean,
They found the harder they push, the more people disperse.
Their fear is about being detached.
Right.
So, and indifferent.
Before we go on to the next question, I'm going to ask everyone to, you got something to drink, to raise a glass here? I like to propose a toast. Zach, are you on there? I'd like to propose a toast, and I hope you'll drink to Snowden for his courageous movement to show us what the state was doing and how it was surveilling us Americans. There you go.
You should be doing Tulsi Gabbard's job right now instead of living in Russia in exile.
Damn straight. All right, next question. Uh-oh, we got toilets in no stalls. Uh-oh. Question. If privacy is dead, should we remove the doors to bathroom stalls? If privacy is dead, should we also make all income tax filings public? If privacy is dead, should we allow CBDCs and let the government and the people see our balances? If privacy is dead, should we list our addresses, cell phone numbers, and everyone, including the politicians?
That's a good. That's a good question. Also, because like now, it's commonplace to ask someone how much they make. It's like even if you go on a date, like
you don't have to say it.
It's not weird for the girl
used
to
to be
like,
a
how much money do you
forbidden
make?
question.
Yeah, it used to be like a very.
I consider it rude, honestly.
Yeah,
it used to be like you wouldn't do it. It would be, but everybody considered it rude.
This is crass. It's like a way of saying I don't make very much money, so I'm obsessed with it.
And same with your coworkers. You didn't talk about your wages with your coworkers.
Or ask a woman how much she weighed or what her age is or anything. It's not like all that stuff.
Right. It's rude.
Is
their number.
But the money thing, I would say money is at the top of that list that has become acceptable to ask. So I think that's kind of part of it.
How much money do you make?
We've been losing privacy on that front to where it's not as important. And maybe that goes, in hand with social media and other stuff and putting so much out there of your life. I mean, it's like telling your friends what you're eating for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. Here's a picture of it. It's just, I mean, if you just said that was going to happen 30 years ago, it would be the weirdest thing to try to explain. I'm showing everyone I know and strangers my cereal or my eggs. It's a very odd thing to try to explain
for money.
I feel like it's the toddlerification of the world, right? Like everybody is like that when they're a toddler. Look at my bowl of cereal, Mom.
It's the narcissistic tendency of society.
It's like it really
is.
But it's approval seeking to a degree as well, right? Like it's a way of saying, "Hey, look at me. Am I great? Am I doing good?" It's a way of absolving oneself of insecurity without self-knowledge.
I'm going to mention that it kind of goes back to my question I said earlier. When somebody pushes back and says, "Well, I have nothing to hide," and this is just simple examples of where we still believe that we should have privacy. It's why we have, either blinds or curtains on our windows. It's why we have doors to bathrooms, and it's why we don't want our
I can get
I have nothing to hide sounds like a suspicious thing to say to me.
But we don't want our income made public. I don't want my neighbors.
I can get to the Gospels on this.
Also, when people bring this up and people bring up the bathroom stalls thing, it once again it's going back to the money question. For that matter. So when I was in high school, the boys' bathroom stalls didn't have doors, not in about 2/3 of the school. Mm-hmm. And one of them was this huge bathroom in a commons area where the door was kept open. So about 1/3 of the stalls, if you took a shit, everybody could watch you from
the display stall.
So to me, that was weird, because I can understand it in the locker room. I thought, okay, we're all, it's the locker room. but the rest of the school, and none of the female.
No one's ever explained why
that
there's
way.
less propriety in the locker room to me.
Yeah, but none of the female stalls in the entire school had no doors. So it was another thing of how there was something different, where it's just one of those things that's been kind of broken down over the years. But we didn't have stalls on a lot of the doors on a lot of the
institutionalization is about petty invasions of privacy, isn't it?
Yeah,
being kind of drilled with them. Like that's what school's about. It's about making sure that you're acclimated to having people getting into your business.
Right.
Like I thought it was weird, but like if I told a girl, she would
public
say,
schools.
You don't have doors on your stalls? I'm like, no. Even at that time,
how else can the administrators make sure nobody's doing drugs in there, right? They should be able to come through and check.
I really do think, and I'm going to get a Mortal Technique on this one, because public schools really are like prisons. And when you don't amount to shit, prison becomes retirement. So they're getting you ready, because if you're not conforming to society, then you're going to wind up in prison in some capacity.
Right.
So I take that lyric to heart. As far as like privacy and going to the Gospels, and I'm going to emphasize this more so than to read it directly, but Jesus himself actually told his disciples to go pray in solitude, to shut the door, to pray to the Father in private, in secret, because that is the best way to pray, is when you are by yourself in solitude, in silence. It's between you and the Father. And so that is why privacy is the best, the simplest and best way to live your life.
Right. And it's something else, like I think Greg had mentioned in the past, it's something too that you don't publicly speak of. Oh, well, I'm going to go over here and pray now. It's something it's you don't you're not trying.
Well, the idea is if you pray in public and people perceive you as pious, you've had your rewards.
Yeah.
So why would God answer your prayer?
Yeah, exactly.
But
it goes back to like your income filings. You don't want them to be public. We don't want everyone to see in the world how much you make or how much you file or don't make or whatever. And the same goes with our addresses and our cell phones. Our phones would blow up with spam calls or goodness, whatever else would happen.
I get a spam call once a day.
We have gates or walls or windows or doors or some privacy it's
an aspect of human dignity, isn't it?
Yes,
as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes,
it's sort of it goes right hand in hand with self-ownership to me.
Yes.
If you own yourself, then you have a sense of dignity, and if you have a sense of dignity, then you're entitled to some privacy from your fellows if they are respecting human dignity.
Right.
I think it's worse than that, Greg. I think that it's becoming, going along with what William said, it's becoming like something you have to earn. It's like nobody needs privacy. Well, what about you, Congressman? Well, I'm different.
Privacy's luxury. It always has been.
More important. I'm much better. Remember that was it Jasmine Crockett who said defund the police, but then she added like $150,000 to her security detail, or it was like $1 million. Like a million.
Anybody willing to let a camera crew follow them into the bathroom every day for a year can totally have a reality show.
She actually said, I'm more important because of the work that I'm doing. So I need that $1.7 million for my extra security.
Yeah.
But you don't. I mean, it was unbelievable, but it happened. It was real.
Right. But it's just human caprice, right? This is like what I want becomes what someone in a position of power believes everybody should have.
Right.
It does require a breach of privacy to implement, which is probably why power is so hostile to privacy. But it doesn't mean that it can be taken away just by building a mass surveillance engine, right? Like even within that milieu, there's still moves you can make to put yourself at the harder to target end of the spectrum.
Yeah. All right. We have one more question. I thought that was the last one. We have one more question here. Here's a bunch of anons at the movie theater. Let's see what it says. Question. Are privacy coins that initialize in privacy mode, like Monero and Xano, are libertarian sanctuaries? Or are they unaccountable havens that undermine the social contract of transparent money? And I'm going to add to that question. I'd like the panel to answer as well, because the difference of, say, something like Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash that gives you the option of transparent, or excuse me, of either transparency or private transaction. So
like Zcash.
Yeah. So here you go. Are these, are these libertarian sanctuaries, and are they going to end? Who would like to start with that first?
I think that to call them sanctuaries is just, once again, shows how it's dead. But right now, if I go and want to buy something on Craigslist, I can meet the guy and I can buy a car. And it's like, here's $15,000. I can put it in an envelope. I can shake his hand and pass it off. Or I can meet him in a crowded area and tell him, hey, I'm buying this car, 15 grand. Here's all the money. Yeah, look at me. I'm giving this guy, I'm buying it. You choose the privacy. I think that they're very, very important. I think that it's but we have cash. That's the thing. We have cash. This is just a new thing that is there to help in the upcoming fight. That's what the fight that is for privacy.
But cash doesn't work online in a transaction online. So
yeah.
And we can't seed the digital space to.
That's why I say it's like the next iteration to kind of help what's coming, to help fight what's coming. But most people who don't, even people that know crypto exists or Bitcoin exists, they don't know about crypto. They don't understand that you can transact digitally,
right,
and have privacy. So that's just a crazy thing to think of.
Think of the opposite side. We want our politicians. We want to know where they're getting their money from for their campaigns. We want to know who's influencing them. So we don't want privacy transactions happening there. We want that public and transparent. On the flip side,
luckily for that, we have open secrets. So we get a little inkling of what's going to politicians, but it's not the full story.
Yeah,
we do need the full story. So the blockchain work.
Good point, Zach. Good point. But on the other side, they turn that back on us and say, well, our transactions are public. Everyone's transactions should be public. You shouldn't be allowed to make a transaction with one of these privacy coins and in the black market. The black market shouldn't exist. It's illegal.
So says you, but so says physics, right? The math still works. So sorry, we can use it.
The word public is literally in your job title of public servant.
Public servant. Right? Yeah. Andrew, what's your thought?
Or as Publix employee when you work at Publix.
Oh.
Well, when the dollar decays, people look for an alternative, right?
Right.
And they say, "Oh, well, they just run all this stuff up in the air about this Bitcoin stuff. Why do they? Why is this so? Why did this make it big?" And then they say, "Okay, well, maybe I'll look into this a little bit." And then it's like a pipeline, right?
Right.
You get from barely paying attention to, oh my God, I had to have as much privacy as possible. They overdo it. Everyone overdoes it when they first get exposed to something that they're really interested in, and they go down all the rabbit holes as much as they can. So I think about it this way: a libertarian sanctuary, yeah, until the normies get involved, and the libertarians move on to something else.
Maybe so. True. Greg, it's transparent money a social contract?
I don't think I've ever signed anything myself. So we can write off the idea that there's a contract of any kind, right? Because a contract that you are not even given the option of getting into by choice, not even saying that you have to have anything written, right? Let's say you have an implied contract, right? how was this implied contract imposed upon me? Oh, I was born into a society where I grew up where it was an unquestioned assumption that we use this. That's not consent to a contract. Even in, like, if you challenged that implicit contract in court, they'd look at it and go, this person didn't change their behavior to get some advantage. They just lived their lives like they normally would. And so this is not an implied contract. It's like saying that because this person mows the lawn every third Tuesday and you observe that from across the street, right? That you can show up every third Tuesday and mow their lawn and then get paid without asking them. But that's not a contract. So no contract. So are they unaccountable? Yes, sort of. But they're also not unaccountable, right? What they are is a barricade against visibility. Mm-hmm. And what goes on in them can be legitimate or illegitimate or not, but we can't know. And that's the point.
And we have the right to transact in private. Just like handing cash to somebody, we have that right. I believe it's a human right. I don't need a.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that initializing in privacy mode coins are necessarily the only kind that you can have. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a valuable place for things like Zcash, where arguably the plausible deniability of the option of compliance for people allows you to get away with having a system that has a transparency mode that never gets used but once in a blue moon. Like if you're running for public office and you want to make a point of showing your Zcash holdings, right? But I don't think the ones that have an optional privacy mode are necessarily dangerous in the sense that you could meaningfully hold a gun to anyone and force them to use the transparency mode.
I think governments are going to step in and say, no more Litecoin or no more Bitcoin Cash, especially in Europe. It'll happen there first because they have the option for privacy. And this, the point I'm making here is exactly what we were talking in the pre-show, Greg. You were talking about a gentleman that got locked up, is serving 5 years for creating a
Keon Rodriguez.
Yes. Good. Tell the audience briefly that story and how he was been wronged by our justice system.
Keon Rodriguez is a security researcher and software engineer who contributed to the code that built the product called Samurai Wallet. And Samurai Wallet was neat because it had this baked-in ability to mixer, right? Like, so you would send and it would just clean your stuff, right? Like, it was a fantastic tool, right? Just this beautiful piece of engineering, and it got popular with a lot of people enough that they could come up with some bogus attribution to probably a CIA cutout that we know as a Korean hacker group or something, and likely pin some bullshit on that tool, and then blame the guy who worked on the code for writing the tool as if he were participating in some criminal act.
Right. And he was,
that would be like going after like a tool maker, like who's the world's largest hammer maker?
Yeah, I don't know. Stanley Hammers. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Stanley. Let's sue them for every murder that happens with one of their hammers.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
It's
or actually jail them as accomplices to the murder.
He was wrong.
That's sort of what
them. Who do you jail? It's a lot easier.
You don't jail. You don't jail tool makers.
But that's the thing. Who made the tools? Is it the designer? Is it the company? Or is it the thousands of people that make the hammer?
Right. And in an open source world, individual contributors are identifiable on GitHub. So as whoever's Git accounts were
sadly
associated with the commits.
Yeah. Sadly, his case, in my opinion, could be extended as a precedence against a gun manufacturer or an ammunition.
Yeah, I was saying that they try to do that, but that's the argument. If you do it for the gun manufacturer, what about, because more people do die of hammers.
Yeah. What about the auto,
the automobile. So it's but that should have been the argument for the Samurai Wallet, but
Well, it just shows
Well,
that
I mean,
the audience
yeah,
was,
is it the
the audience, I
same?
mean, the jury was
it-
stacked against him.
Yeah,
It was an
it's
unfair
getaway
court.
driver
There is
versus
no
car
law.
manufacturer thinking.
Yeah, it's an unfair court. There is no law.
Well, I mean, and let's not forget, right, that the place where all these cases are happening is the Southern District of New York, right?
Bingo. Thank
Which you know who's in charge of that right now, right?
Is it? It's not Comey's daughter. She's
No, it's
just
Jay Clayton.
Oh, God. Oh, geez.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding.
Sick.
You can't
That's
write this.
sick.
It's surreality. It's freaking nuts.
Yeah. Zach, you didn't weigh in on this conversation. What do you think about, privacy coins and transparent money, and are they unaccountable havens? Zach?
Are privacy coins unaccountable havens? Defined accountability. Who are we being accountable to?
Well, the government wants you to be held accountable for what you're spending on.
I mean, in the realm of
I'm buying beef, and I've extended
just
my,
like when you swear in Demolition Man.
I mean, as far as the government is concerned, you can take away their version of accountability, which is just invasion, by utilizing privacy tools and privacy coins and transactions. But at the same time, we still have to be accountable in our own realm. So, like, how do we take the? I'm going to answer this with another question. Then, how do we take that scheme and apply it to accountability between all of us to each other, while simultaneously removing the invasion of other sources that want to control?
Right. Well, what good, I guess, then is economic intervention if we can't have mass surveillance? Right. Are the two hand in hand for a reason? Maybe the thing we really need to be challenging is the premise that you can intervene by deputizing third parties.
Maybe.
Well, don't we already do that by deputizing third parties? Say with
right. What I'm saying is maybe that practice itself is the thing that's toxic to privacy, and if we pulled that back rather than tried to get privacy protections while still doing that, we'd have better luck.
So, like, say you're looking for a job, and that job wants to run a background. Perhaps maybe they use some sort of blockchain sourced consumer report rather than centralized into third-party corporate entities that really
maybe they go like the new old-fashioned way and have an AI scrape what you've actually said in public and get a sense of who you are, right? Like forget looking at your metadata and look at your content and see if you're the sort of person that people trust.
Yeah.
But how do we get around those that don't, how do I put this? How would they get around doing that, using AI to scrape that, when not everybody publicly puts themselves out there? Like, they're publicly online, but their name isn't there. Like, wouldn't they?
Well, let's say instead of looking at past performance within third-party business relationships, they looked at reference type information. Like, would your friends lend money to you? Would be a survey question they might ask of a friend as they're looking to see if they have credit. And the only thing you'd have to know about that is like who you've connected with in a way that like followed back, right? Like they could count those people as your friends. You could have an online based reputation take the place of any kind of identity if we wanted to, where an anon could have a reputation that was so good that any lender on earth would lend them money because they're so present, public, and accountable to themselves in the sense that they don't say stuff that they don't do.
That's fair, but what do we do to stop discriminatory practices. Say, if you're a lot of these companies anymore are very secularized within our society, right? And a lot of times they discriminate people based on their belief systems. It doesn't matter what your belief system is, but so how do we stop that?
Well, I think we stop it by not setting up systems that try to stop it structurally. Because if we set those systems up, then we make barriers to entry for competitors that could come in that would, recognize the fact that there's an exploitable vector of talent that this company's missing out on because it's ideologically aligned. Go pick up a bunch of gifted people and eat the industry alive.
That's where I was going to go. I was going to say that you build the parallel network, you build a parallel, the competitive.
Let them have their exclusions and just go build your own. Or go find somebody.
You vocalize, I don't buy from XYZ company because of these reasons, or I don't want to support their behavior or their funding in these politicians or whatever the case is. I instead choose to buy from ABC company because ABC company aligns with my values or whatever.
But what do we do? I'm going to push back on that with another question. What do we do when laws are put in place to force you to bake the fucking cake?
See, this is the sort of thing that shouldn't really be enforceable. Like, this is what I was talking about. Like, if we eradicated the market intervention rather than the need for privacy.
Yeah.
Rather than bolting on a privacy tool after we build the market intervention to make the market intervention less unpalatable.
Zach, your question is you're talking about making us bake the fucking cake is exactly the point of there is no law. There is no justice because there is no law. And so you are forced to bake the cake.
And it goes along with what Andrew said, because you're more apt to have to bake the cake in certain states than you would be in other states within the same country.
Right. I still think that well, this is probably we're gonna jump into current events here in a second, but the answer to what Zach's talking about, and the strong need for privacy coins and to be able to track in private or have the option to transact in private, example Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Litecoin as an example, is the reason for just that. You want to be able to encourage alternative markets, alternative companies that align with your system, your values, your beliefs, maybe your religious beliefs. And I think that's how you cultivate that market, is especially like if it's religious, like, hey, I'm willing to spend an extra $1 or $2 over here because they align with me on a religious perspective rather than over here. And I think that's how, because there is no law, there is, the courts are rigged. The courts are rigged for the elites, the powerful, or if you can buy your way out, if you've committed a crime. The example of that New York circuit, run by Clinton, those are really prime examples of there is no
the
law.
plaintiff's bar is kind of taking control of the court, haven't they?
Yeah. So I think
there is law, but there's not law in the standard of what the state presents, because that law is fake.
Right. I mean, I can say there's the law of economics, and the law of economics ultimately wins. MMT is not going to survive. The law of economics, it doesn't have a timetable. It's just
it doesn't work.
Right.
Physics, right? Physics, math. It doesn't math.
You can't. Yeah, like you can't print money and measure it by the robbery of other people. It just doesn't work, MMT.
And you can't legislate reality either.
Right.
Like you can ignore reality with your legislation, but you can't ignore forever the consequences of ignoring reality with your legislation.
We're going to see this work out with Donald Trump, and he's picking and choosing winners and losers with the economy, right? Look at the thing with Intel.
Yeah,
we're already seeing that.
Yeah.
Good point.
It was like 17th century, basically economic mathematicians that proved that tariffs are a bad idea. Like,
Yeah.
It's not going to end well in the long run. Not because of what's happening now, but because of how other countries are ultimately going to react to them.
Is there anything else anyone would like to add to this conversation?
That's a
about
good thing we could jump into current events with the terrorist thing.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Is there anything else that anyone want to add to the privacy is dead, or shall we move on to current events?
I mean, the only thing that I can add is you said we can't legislate reality, Greg. I would extend that and say, because this is reality, I would extend that and say that we can't legislate morality, because what is morality? There is an objective truth, but we're all individuals striving for an objective truth that we don't necessarily know. So that's where the ethical fabric comes to, whereas everybody is in a relative sense of reality, trying to strive for that one objective truth. And so everybody's discombobulated. And so when you start legislating morality, you start dictating upon individual relativist or subjective notions, whereas instead and you get away from the objective truth of what is wrong and what is right, what is just and what is basically disgusting.
It's interesting you should say that, because I was been thinking the whole time that morality has been used to justify legislation, and like I remember, I forget who said it, but the guy asked the senator, "What is smut or what is pornography?" And he's like, "I can't put it into words, but I know it when I see it," and that was accepted as
that was Justice Black, I think.
Well, that was it was like and there's so many things that, like, I was a little kid and it made sense to my little kid brain. Now I didn't know who Pollock was. I thought that the Hustler guy was like a disgusting person that we should kill when I was a little kid, and now I see him as that was a free speech. It was like a real thing. He was the smut peddler, and he was but that was the battlefield, was about free speech.
All right, let's move on to current events.
Morality for legislation.
Yeah. And that's the thing is when it comes to free speech, the free speech, everybody has their basis of expressing, and if you disagree with it, have the freedom to disengage from that disagreeable expression. So if somebody wants to peddle smut, I mean, who am I to tell you to not peddle it? All I have to do is just stay away from it, keep my kids away from it, teach them that that's wrong so that they can stay away from it. But and meanwhile, the other side, if they want to peddle in the smut, then let them. I mean, it's life. I mean, everybody's got their choice.
To some people, morality is fluid. To other people, it's fixed, and there's a go-between.
Yeah. Yes, and
So I'd actually like to close on this one by sharing a quick video clip. So I think that this is highly relevant.
Someone else probably gonna have to play it because I use a.
No, I think I got the ability to screen share. Hang on.
Good.
You guys see it?
I do not.
William probably.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
Yeah. Okay.
How long is this clip?
It's a great scene.
It's a short one.
You got to me. You did this to me.
Copyright strike.
You cut my hair.
No.
You tortured me.
Fair comment.
You tortured me. Why?
You said you wanted to live without fear. I wish there'd been an easier way, but there wasn't.
Oh my God.
I know you may never forgive me, but nor will you ever understand how hard it was for me to do what I did. Every day I saw in myself everything you see in me now. Every day I wanted to end it, but each time you refused to give in.
Did you guys just lose audio? Or
You're sick.
It's perfect.
You're evil.
I hear it.
You could have ended it, Evie. You could have given in, but you didn't. Why?
Leave me alone. I hate you.
That's it! See, at first, I thought it was hate, too. Hate was all I knew. It built my world, imprisoned me, taught me how to eat, how to drink, how to breathe. I thought I'd die with all the hate in my veins. But then something happened. It happened to me, just as it happened to you.
Shut up! I don't want to hear your lies!
Your own father said that artists use lies to tell the truth.
Yes, I created a lie. But because you believed it, you found something true about yourself.
No.
What was true in that cell is just as true now. What you felt in there has nothing to do with me.
I can't feel anything anymore.
Don't run from it, Evie. You've been running all your life.
Listen to me, Evie. This may be the most important moment of your life. Commit to it.
They took your parents from you.
They took your brother from you. They put you in a cell and took everything they could take, except your life. And you believed that was all there was, didn't you? The only thing you had left was your life, but it wasn't, was it?
Please.
You found something else. In that cell, you found something that mattered more to you in life.
Because when they threatened to kill you unless you gave them what they wanted, you told them you'd rather die.
You faced your death, Evie.
You were calm. You still tried to...
You faced your death.
You faced your death.
He has to reboot. He'll be right back.
No problem. Yeah, the 5th of November. Shall we never forget, right? Always remember the 5th of November.
The death he's talking about that you're facing is your ego death.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Oh, let me add him to the stage. There you go, Greg.
The point too was that point where he brings out when they ask you if you wanted to, or if you would give them something or you'd be shot, that she'd rather die. That's what she said, right? That they talk about it in the cut where they tell the story of the actress that got killed, right? As well, that inch that you don't sacrifice. This is privacy. This is why it's not dead, because that scene makes the point perfectly well, I think.
I agree. Is
So I just
definitely one
want
of
to say
my
that
favorite
because that's
movies.
how I think about it when I think about it.
Yeah,
And I think it's dead. But I think the people still have the fight for it. But they're fighting for it. But it's already been, conquered.
All right. Moving on. Other current events. Obviously, the government shutdown is one. The Venezuela back down, or is it?
I think the Canadian thing is the biggest thing there is.
Which part of Canada? I just anything Canada. I just like that. I'm moving on. It's already dead.
That's
Canada is already dead to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the biggest thing. Canada said that about us.
Mm-hmm.
Their prime minister came out and was like, "Hey, U.S. is done. We're done.
Yeah,
this is, and things are going to get bad. Things are going to get real bad. But this is how it is. We're a country. We're not America's hat. It's been fun for 50, 70, 80, 100 years, but where things are changing, and I think there's a good chance Canada will fall and will become the United States. Or I have a crazy conspiracy nut thing that I think might happen. But I'm not sure.
Did Canada ever really stop sliding into totalitarianism after COVID, or did they just sort of keep doing it?
No, just kept doing it.
Really stop it?
Trudeau's replacement is just as bad, if not worse.
Mm-hmm.
And look at UK. UK is dead and done and cooked.
Yeah.
Oh, the UK is a totalitarian regime now.
Any country that's part of the EU is dead and done and cooked.
Okay.
No, the West is getting eaten by totalitarianism.
The UK. I'll tell you my crazy conspiracy.
All right, I'll hear it. I love to hear it.
Tell me what you think. So there's this movement for 2 provinces to become part of the United States.
Yes.
One definitely 100%, 1000%. Like the people want it. It could happen. Second province, very likely also, but it's not as like signed, sealed, and delivered. If that happens, which I think honestly, there's a good chance that 1 or 2 will become states. That's
Even with what that would do to the
done.
electoral.
Canada's done. They can't exist because the states that want to move are the money making states, the blue collar states, where all the that everybody else sucks off of. The only way they could survive is to jump 1,000% into a welfare state of the crown. If the crown over there takes a bigger role in which that makes more sense of why it's been going to this totalitarian type
right
way.
They don't have that. They can't afford
UK
to
is
do
also broke, Sean. They've been hints that they're going to the IMF asking for a loan. So Canada going to the UK for money is not going to work because the UK is going to the IMF and we are supporting the IMF.
Exactly. It's a shell game. But if that happens and they become like
for shadow banking and infinite
literally if Canada's gone. If Canada becomes the state of whatever, and then that other half becomes the British colony of Canada again. I mean, it's like not, they don't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's 1,000% part of Britain. They start flying the flag. I think that's the only way it could survive.
Well, they've already moved some royals over there, haven't they?
I would suggest, and I would caution anyone that's watching this from Alberta, don't join the U.S. Become your own nation state. You have resources that the U.S. will exploit, will take from you. You are used to being cuddled with your health insurance, and our health insurance is so broken and upside down and horrible because of the expense that you
even better. Consider becoming a federation of city-states instead.
Even better.
Yeah, or
I'm actually
starting or a territory, but you're better off if you are a small, wealthy, oil-rich country of your own.
I'm actually
talking to deaf ears. You're telling a dog that's been getting beat 10 times a day, don't go over there where you only get beat once a day. They're going to be like, yeah, you're
send
crazy.
A special message to the Taliban, right? Because it's Trudeaunistan now.
My special message to everybody is I'm starting to kind of understand where people come at, especially with the healthcare idea, the socialized mechanism. Now, not by all means, socialism does not work. The socialist structures doesn't work, but the structure of it, theoretically, when it comes to healthcare, could work in a decentralized measure on the blockchain.
I really do, Zach. I got to push back on you there a little bit. There may be some things that you're not considering about the way that customership matters with respect to the level of care you get from your doctor.
I become
if you're not the payer, then the provider isn't optimizing for your wishes.
I'm like Joe now. If you're taking my money, I want it to go for that. I want it to go to give people. You're already taking it. I don't think they should take it. I don't think they should take it, and then we have. But then
if we're the payers, then we're the customers, and if you're the customer, then they tailor the thing to your ends. If you're not the payer, then if you want to know why a hospital gets run for the convenience of insurance companies, well, guess what?
I'm literally to the world. I'm putting my hand up and saying, "Hey, I'm giving money to kill people all around the world, and I'm not giving money to give healthcare to people in my own country." That's what I mean, when we talk about.
Right, but at least the state is a machine for killing things, so at least it can do that well.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at on the issue, because when you look at it, we are a socialized mechanism in the health regime, anyways. And as much as we are because of the government's
more than we were
in its subsidy bearing. So and insurance in itself, through its how do I say the word? In its oligarchical or oligopolial identity.
There you go.
Because there's only a couple. is socialist in its own structure, period. They're just socialist in a private means.
Right.
And then you
the,
have
the
this
privatized
fascist
version was
thinker.
the friendly society with
Yeah.
the doctor at the head of it getting all the
Yeah.
dues.
Many of us
and-
are familiar with the CCP and how it operates. I would
Oh, yeah.
argue that the CCP here is the insurance company.
Yes.
And so when you go to your health, your doctor, your provider, and it's got to go through the CCP for payment, and it's a corrupt system, and it's big, and it's sick, and you're sick, and then the government, here you go. When you go to the grocery store and you buy a bunch of junk food that ultimately is going to kill you, and you swipe your card, what you're really doing is everyone that's contributing and paying to the healthcare system is you're spending everybody's money for your illness that you're inflicting upon yourself, and we're all paying for it. There's no incentive in the healthcare system for you to select good vegetables or good meat that isn't hormone induced.
No, this has always been about flinging bread out to the crowd at the Coliseum.
And that's
exactly. There is no incentive
fix
for healthy well-being, and reducing the cost of healthcare in this country. It's incentivized just the opposite. It's an ugly.
I was reading about
it's evil.
I was reading about SNAP last night as a program and why it was created. Originally, they originally had to do research into the psychology of getting people to use it because people who qualified for it were too proud to take assistance.
That's how it used to be.
Yeah. Well, it used to be you had
they literally had to learn how they had to do psychological ops in order to get people to take the program because they wanted to create the dependency.
Yeah, you used to have
meanwhile, my
paper
piece
money
of shit aunt fucking
that were actual, and you had to count them out. They were like 1s, 5s, 10s, and the person in front of you had to pay for it. And they're like, "Oh, we got to, we need a cash register that takes the food stamp," and they put it on a card. Where now,
and then all of a sudden,
for a while, people didn't know. Oh, where'd you get that? Where's that credit card? That's a new.
You got to wonder how much the government loves the SNAP card because it can force the grocery store inventory system to behave compliantly.
And that's
that way too.
Subsidy creates lack of.
It does allow sort of a kind of mass economic surveillance.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. How do we fix it? How do we fix SNAP? Because the talk of the Trump regime is
it's already gone and dead.
Actually,
and
how does SNAP protect the
federal
data
government? Anything with the federal government is,
or did they just own it wholesale?
What I mean
I'll push
is,
back on that. I'll push back on that, William, because when it comes to government food things, the WIC program is perfect. I think.
Actually, yeah,
it gives
one actually does do good.
Exactly.
It does,
and I think if you use that model,
not necessarily as much good as a private version of it would do. But
and here's the problem. Here's where people push back and get angry.
Unless there's something I don't know about.
If you do for SNAP what you did for WIC, then people could buy good food, good nutritious food, and the cost would be massively low. But then they're like,
solve the whole problem with a transaction tax at the point of sale.
You're taking away people's dignity because they can't buy this junk food for their kids. So all the other kids have junk food at school, but not little Jimmy. Everyone knows little Jimmy's poor and has to eat carrot sticks and apple slices. And it's like,
but it's everybody else paying for it.
That's the thing. It's like, hey, I'm sorry, but there has to be a level of
make our laws on the basis of playground cruelty.
To do that, I'm
little
for
little
it.
Jimmy doesn't deserve shame.
I would still argue that WIC is because
little Jimmy's plight lamentable, but it's also other people's money, right?
It is other people's money, yes. So how do we promote this onto a more private and even down to the lowest level individual means? How do we try to get it to where charity is literally charity rather than force?
That's just it. There's so many problems with society, and that we don't have a belief in the sanctity of life. We don't have dignity anymore, or the belief in dignity. The moral standards are gone. First principles are gone. We don't agree on first principles. We don't agree on the Constitution, like the Second Amendment. There's such a giant divide amongst the people that I think the answer is segregation, separation. intentional, communities. I've come to that conclusion that, the smaller community is going to take care of itself because they're all going to be like-minded. And you know what? Let the savages be savages, and let I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's enough land that a diversity of
separate.
lifestyles can be supported. Everybody can have their own thing and see how it works. The only thing that you shouldn't be allowed to do is force people to stay.
The idea of the
I do not
experiment
come
that
with peace, but I bring a sword.
each state was supposed to be an experiment, and if one state was doing well and another one wasn't, we could vote with our feet and move to that state that was being well ran and well managed. Well, that's all gone because the federal government has absorbed all the state power as well. And
also people take their politics with them.
The state capitals are so ugly and corrupt. We think the federal government is corrupt. Well, the state governments are just as corrupt, and it is still hidden. So anyway, going back real quick, what about this? The government is now turned back on. Boy, when I turned on the lights this morning and I turned on my coffee, I could just feel it in the air that.
Yeah, I know that you could feel it was so governmenty.
I think it's a really good way to show how polarized and stupid the polarization is.
They're probably not actually.
I have friends that were literally, all of this is the Republicans' fault.
Too close to Thanksgiving. They're probably just taking it off.
The Republicans are the one who shut this down. The Republicans could turn this around. And they couldn't. They had to have a 60 vote. But it's the Republicans. The Democrats just want to get the government working. The Democrats want to turn it on. And those same people now are saying the Democrats caved. They gave in. I'm like, you wanted the government turned back on. Like 2 days ago, you said that they were the ones trying to turn it on. Now it's on. Not to be political, but literally you were saying that. And now that it's turned back on, you're mad at the Democrats that did it?
Listen, it's all propaganda, okay? The real question everyone needs to know is, are the chemtrails back in the sky?
Yes.
They never stopped paying the bondholders, so I think we're okay.
Now you know the solution.
As a matter of fact.
And besides, there's all this new slush money.
Oh, you probably can't see it, but there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. There's your chemtrail. I had a family member send that to me, and that's smoke, by the way, from but next to it is that chemtrail. I don't know if you can see it.
Nice.
Yeah, I can see it.
They're back on. They're back on, buddy.
There you go. It's not a Republican. It's not a Democrat. It's chemtrails. It's always been chemtrails.
When I turned on my coffee pot and I looked to the sky, it says, we got chemtrails.
It's an indicator of hallucination.
Thank you, government. Thank you. By the way, talking about chemtrails, probably the foremost expert, an engineer who lives in California, was on Tucker Carlson this past week. And wow, did he low down the facts and the 411 on chemtrails and weather manipulation. I highly recommend the audience listen.
Well, it's been around forever, weather manipulation.
Yes, it has. He goes through the whole history. And weather modification, and how even in Vietnam, the UN spoke up and said, hey, no more of this stuff, in warfare.
And then we never stopped.
They said it was.
Then we said, okay, and we handed it off to a cutout that was doing research into climate change.
Yeah, and see, that's the whole SNAP. There's so much slush money that was in the SNAP program, and there's slush money in the WIC program. Even though maybe the WIC, these all have good intentions, but we don't hold the money truthfully accountable. It's not transparent.
Intentions don't actually deliver results, though. The problem is
and there's contracts. There's contracts. Oh, I'm going to buy this baby formula, and if you buy this baby formula, I'll give you a kickback.
But with WIC, you can actually use WIC at farmers markets, local farmers markets, to buy local produce. You can only buy milk, cheese, beans, peanut butter. It's just for nutrition. So it's
good. It's actually a good program.
It's a much better
It
model.
has, well, I mean, it's one of the few programs we have that actually had a measurable positive public health impact when they implemented, where you can see in the numbers that childhood nutrition got better.
Yeah, and because you can't sell it, you can't. It's you have to use it to buy formula for your kid. You can't buy chips for your kid. You can't not buy it. You can't, it's a much better. If you're taking my money, I think that's how you should use it.
Right. Well, I mean, the obnoxious thing is you don't get to decide how your money gets used, really, because mostly what our money is getting used for is to pay the national credit card. We're paying the monthly payment, and then they're just borrowing against the Fed, printing more money,
created out of nothing.
Public treasuries, like the whole machine. That's what they buy stuff with. That they show us that they're buying with our money.
If it was your money,
what we're doing is paying the credit card payment.
Yeah. If it was your money, then you would be able to look on your dollar bill and see certification, gold certification or whatever for the bank that you have your values deposited in. Instead, it says Federal Reserve note. It's not your money.
Can I give a shout out? Yeah. Can I give a shout out real quick? Our friend here on the show who's been on several times, Aaron Day, was again on the Michael Ferris podcast, which is Coffee and a Mic. Michael Ferris.
Cool.
And he was on with the Professor Dave Collum last night. If you can, if you can see that, and he was they were talking about AI and the bubble and technocracy and the technocrats that are in charge, and how things have rapidly changed with the Trump's executive orders and what went through the the big beautiful bill and the ID and the CBDCs as well as the stable coins. Anyway, it's 25 minutes and Aaron laid it all out. And Professor Dave Collum is one of my favorites, and that I like. Anywhere he speaks, I like to listen.
Yep.
And
there's also a really great article on it out in, I forget exactly which magazine, but if you look for stable coins, central banking, it goes into depth about how a lot of the once upon a time just stablecoin companies have now turned into these like very central bank like entities.
Yes,
in terms of structure.
And the other idea that goes with the stable coins is trying to get the stable coins in the hands of all these third world countries to use those as on an app on their phones, to use the dollar rather than their home currencies. And so it kind of like fingers through various countries to hold the dollar in place, as it competes with BRICS, which BRICS was, created on Wall Street. Ironically, no, it wasn't Russia and India and Brazil that got together and said, let's create BRICS. It was actually created in Wall Street and taken over there.
To go back to an earlier point that somebody made, I forget, was it Zach or Andrew, or maybe it was you, Sean, maybe you said this, I don't know. Somebody mentioned how you could drown everybody in the pee that would flow if everybody just took a piss all at once on somebody.
That was Sean.
That was Sean. Yeah. So I took the liberty of having ChatGPT figure out exactly how much liquid that would be. And I want to play this real fast.
Yes, this is an amusing number. Let's do it cleanly. Take world population 8.1 billion people. Average pee per event 350 milliliters, 0.35 Ls. Multiply 8.1 times 10 to 9 times 0.35, approx 2.835 times 10 to 9 liters. So a global perfectly synchronized piss would yield about 2.8 billion liters of urine. Translate that into more intuitive absurdities. 2.8 kilometers. No, careful. 1 kilometer equals 10 12 liters. So 2.8 times 10 seemingly equals 0.0028 kilometers per kilos of pee. A tiny cube of urine about 140 meters on a side, because 1 for EU 2.744 times 10.6 equals 2.744
Doesn't know how to
times
say
10
numbers very
close
well.
enough. Let's do some more fun units. Olympic swimming pools. One Olympic pool, 2.5 million liters. 2.8 times 10 to 9, 2.5 times 10 to 6, 1,134. About 1,100 plus Olympic swimming pools full of human pee. Supertank is a large crude carrier, 2 million barrels. One barrel for 159 L, 2,000 thousands,
No, ask
159,
it.
318,000 L. 2.8 times 10 per 9, 3.18 times.
I'll just tell you guys the outcomes rather than
the outcome, please.
No,
So
no.
about
you should
9
ask
fully
it.
loaded oil super tankers of urine. Or
No, ask it for those
at Niagara
those
Falls
9.
about 20 minutes of flow, but just pee.
No, you should ask it.
So you're right,
for
you
those
could drown
9
just about
super
anybody
tank.
with it.
So with those 9 super tankers, you should ask it, how long would it take for it to sterilize to the point where you can drink it without poisoning yourself?
How long would it take for it to become drinkable?
Yes.
Oh no, thank you.
Because you can drink your own pee. You can drink other.
I'm not sure if I
people's
want
pee,
that in
too.
my chat history.
Probably not. But I mean, if you're in a survival situation, a survival situation, you can drink your own piss.
You know, it's a very interesting
guys hear
thing
about that,
I
actually?
recently learned that this is like a God thing, but you know, if we eat,
I'll be right back, gentlemen.
If we're cannibalistic and we eat ourselves or eat humans, it messes you up. Every single species. That's how mad cow disease started. That they got beef in the feed. So I didn't know this. My son worked at Chipotle.
Ingestion to brain.
He said that because a bunch of people got what's the disease if you eat poop on the lettuce?
Oh, what is it called? I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up.
What is it?
I'm scared.
If you eat,
is it a well, there's lots of them. Is the problem?
No, it's the bad one that kills you. And like Chipotle, Jack in the Box got it.
Yeah, you're thinking of staphylococcus. There's like a staph infection or
no.
It's
botulism.
I mean, there's also E. coli.
E. coli.
And
That's it.
E. coli. Oh yeah, E. coli.
Because I know.
So
Chipotle gotten some shit for E. coli.
Yeah, if you eat lettuce with human,
but I thought the antibiotic resistant staph was the worst though.
You get E. coli.
It probably.
But if you eat your own shit, you cannot get E. coli.
Because it's your poop.
I thought that was
You
super interesting.
just can't get any more calories than you got the first time. So
I thought it was really. I thought that was human design was kind of crazy. That if you eat someone's poop, you can die.
Let's see.
And if you eat your own, you don't die.
Yeah. What's the other one where if you don't? What's the other one if you're not very hygienic and like say you wipe your ass after you're taking a shit and touch a doorknob, somebody else goes in and touches it and they get sick? What do they call?
This is why the door of the bathroom is the filthiest part.
It's disgusting, dude. I walked in the last time. I'll tell you straight up. Like the last time I walked into a public restroom at Walmart, I walked in. I needed to take a leak, and I took a leak. I walked over. I washed my hands no matter what. And I saw this dude, and this dude was.
You should wash your hands before you take a piss in that place.
You should. Yeah, I agree. But this dude, I'm sitting there standing at the sink washing my hands, and this dude is like going hard, like you're hearing grunts and taking a dump. Next thing you know, I'm finishing up, drying my hands. He walks out, flushes the toilet, walks out, walks straight out the door, touches it, touches the door.
Yeah, I used to work.
I'm like, what?
I used to work at Domino's, and you had to wash your hands before you went back to work. And I would get like yeast infections. Like I went to the doctor. I'm like, why you get this is weird? And it's because like you had to wash my hands first because I was making pizza and I had yeast on my hands, and then I would pee, and then wash my hands and go back to work. So literally, it was like it took like 2 months until we figured it out. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you should wash your hands
kitchen's like a
before
laboratory, really.
and after.
Yep.
I never would have thought about it that way.
Andrew
it's kinda
has
weird
yeast
when you think about
infections
it.
on a daily basis.
Yes,
Daily
exactly.
basis. We had this one guy who smelled so bad. I was assistant manager, and he was like 40 something and had like 8 kids, right? But he would take his shirt home, wouldn't leave it, and he would not shower, and then he wouldn't wash the shirt. So he smelled so bad. And everyone's like, Sean, I can't work here. You got to do something. It would hurt your eyes. So the Domino's rule book was literally a foot thick. I had to go through it and find rules. And then I had to counsel the guy and say, hey, man, you're violating these 3 rules here, and they're going to have to fire you if you don't shower and wash your shirt or leave it here for it to be washed. It was very embarrassing.
Page 3, subsection A, paragraph 12.
Literally, yeah.
Line 2.
I don't understand it. Just shower. You don't have to shower.
Usually rules are there
3 times a day,
specifically for
3
the
times
case
a
when
week,
somebody doesn't do what
at least.
everybody else is already doing.
Yeah.
It should be guidance.
But he was like,
I know
got
I've seen
8 kids. I'm like, I don't want to fire you. I don't want to be talking to you, old man.
Right. Yeah, this is weird to talk about.
Years old.
I've seen videos about like the people that enforce rules at like White Castle, because when I was a kid I used to work there, and they would say, like, up at the home office or whatever you want to call it, the corporate, it would say this is just general guidance, but the people at the actual store that know these are the rules, you have to follow the rules. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, we'll go with that. But I can totally understand where you had to actually come down and say, this is the rule. You need to make sure that you're taking a shower every day.
Because otherwise, be like, fuck off, it's fine, right?
Right. Yeah.
What you should have did, Andrew, was when you were talking to them, you should have been like,
yeah, okay.
All right, gentlemen, we're almost at the 2-hour mark.
You could have implemented a stinkspection, though, as a general rule, where everybody had to be smelled if you didn't want to single the guy out.
No, if you smelled the guy, you would die.
That would have been more awkward, though.
If there was actual smell interaction.
What you should have did was you should have lined everybody up, told them to bend over, and then you smelled everyone in their asses, and whichever smelled worse, you fired them.
I'm not doing any of that because when you work at White Castles, you can eat whatever you want.
It would permanently put in the culture like a fear of not smelling good if you did it that way, Zach.
You probably could.
But before we go on, though, there's one other thing worth bringing up, I think.
We got to be quick.
Have you guys heard about what was it? Hang on. I actually made a note of this, so I didn't want to forget it. But
on our outro, I need just an extra minute.
Yeah, no problem. Why can I not? Literally the second I get everybody's attention, I'm like, I fucking forgot. Hang on.
Well, you want us to do the outro and then we'll come back to you last?
Yeah, sure. That'll work.
All right, Zach, what's happening with you in this week? And provide us how we can follow you and all that good stuff. And then we'll go to Andrew, Sean, to Greg, and then to me. Zach, what do you got?
My message for everybody today is get right with yourself, because the world is fallen, and you should get right with God and right with yourself, and just acknowledge that you have your own faults, the world has its own faults, and live for more than yourself. Go beyond yourself. We've seen what government does when enforcing theft to provide for others, specifically with the SNAP. And I think it's time that we go beyond ourselves and acknowledge that humans in community is exactly what we need in order to help others. We don't need force. We don't need theft. We don't need to subjugate ourselves towards giving up our own authority. We should just do. So my message for everybody is live up to a standard of true charity with each other.
Good. Thank you, Zach. Andrew.
I have oikophobia. I have a prejudice against my own family. I'm here to experience the world outside of it. No, I'm just kidding. Join us tomorrow, and we're going to be joining Greg again to talk about his book, Law Zero, and it'll be 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, at 10 Central on Rumble, on X, on YouTube, and a variety of other platforms, Facebook, for example, and it'll be a good time.
Super.
I'll hand it off to Sean.
Sean.
You guys did not go to my channel and go comment on the last 3 videos, USA, so that you would win this wallet. Go do that. Go to my last 3 videos, comment USA. I'll give that away to somebody in the US. Just check me out on social medias, and on Tuesday, me and Lisa, hopefully this week, we'll do our Trig Tuesday show.
Nice. All right, Greg.
Okay, so the thing that I wanted to point out earlier is still lost to history. So we'll have to try to come back to that. But it was salient to privacy, and the point that I wanted to leave everybody with was literally about the amount of effort that you have to put in to having privacy if you want any of it. So I will just say, like, try to treat privacy like a practice. You don't have to outrun the bear. You just have to run faster than the person next to you to win at privacy in this day and age. So try to adopt a new habit every time you can, ingest one, and that's how you'll keep privacy alive. It's not dead if you don't give up on it, because it's part of who you are.
Nice. All right, I'll finish it off. First of all, I want to thank everybody who has been watching us talk about Is Privacy Dead? And next week's show, all of us are going to need to make a decision. I believe we're going to have to move it to Wednesday, because isn't next week Thanksgiving? Or am I off a week?
You're off a week, couple weeks,
Yeah.
couple
One
weeks.
more week.
Thanksgiving's in a couple
All
of weeks.
All right, so Thanksgiving. All right, so the week after next show will be on Wednesday. And I want to thank all those who have watched and participated, and I would like to thank the panelists for being here as well. And lastly, but not last, as far as Den.Social, there is a Den.Down meeting tomorrow morning. It'll be brief. And there's some discussion, and Satoshi Sean, you'll be interested in this, about changing the login because we have a potential client that wants to use Den.Social who needs the login changed as well. And so that might solve that problem. So keep posted on that. Next, I'd like to also mention I have been taken to a new realm, shall we say, and that is been locked up in meme asylum. I've been very fascinated with the white paper and the math behind it, and how it could revolutionize the whole way memes are done, ending the pump and dump. And I'm serious about this. It could solve a lot of problems in the meme investing world and the meme chasing the dream of meme profits, ending that continuous cycle of the pump and the dump. And that has got me excited about Meme Asylum because of its white paper and what it can do for society. It solves a real problem. So I encourage people to take a look at Meme Asylum. And with that, I am going to end us with a quick video. Again, thanks to the panelists. Looking forward to next week's show. So here we go. Thank you, John.
Play us out.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the Grand fucking Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.